And next up, a fireside chat with Kady Srinivasan, CMO of you.com. Super excited to host you, Kady. And she's going to be joined by Chang Chen, growth advisor and former leader at Otter AI, HeyGen, Cartesia, and Microsoft. What a treat. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure. So the topic is going to be solving the last mile of AI. Super excited to dive in. Chang,
Yeah,
what's
super
on your mind?
excited. Yeah, super excited. And it's definitely an honor to join the city with Kelly. And I've been a huge fan and super impressive background on how you had the three IPOs and all the logos like U.com, Lightspeed, Klaviyo, Dropbox. I've been looking forward to learn from you today. So, given your extensive successful experience, what one not so obvious advice would you offer to founders seeking go-to-market success?
Yeah, it's a great question and really nice to chat with you, Chang. You have an impressive background too, so we can both learn from each other in this conversation. I think the thing that I advise a lot of startups currently, and the one thing that I see over and over is there isn't a lot of clarity in the beginning from a go to market perspective. So when the founder is starting on this journey of going through their pre-seed and seed and series A and all that kind of stuff, the you have to be very intentional about how you create the right kind of go to market motion. And what I mean by that is you have to know based on your ICP whether you're going to be predominantly an inbound go-to-market motion, or if it's you have to right off the bat start creating an outbound motion, or you rely heavily on partners and what that means to you. And you have to be very intentional about what it is that is going to get you the most leverage. So if let's say you are a company that's focused on SMBs. Yes, you can go and start doing a bunch of demand gen, but also is there an opportunity here to go and create the right kind of partnerships, and that becomes a big way for you to get leads. You have to start thinking about how does partnerships kind of become part of your go-to-market motion, not just running ads to drive inbound. If you are an enterprise focused company, how much of your revenues or your pipeline should come from true outbound or enterprise selling? And what does that mean for hiring sellers? And what does that mean for hiring the right kind of DNA of sellers who know how to get into enterprise? What percentage of that should come from your inbound? So there's a bunch of things that as a founder, you need to really think about. And you have to think a few steps ahead in terms of what does that landscape of go-to-market motions look like, and really leverage that. And just as a reminder, there's inbound, which is high velocity, usually leads coming in the door, usually smaller ACV type of deals. Then there is outbound, which is usually high touch and low volume. So you're actually outbounding two people. And then there's partner, right? Partner go to market motion. And within each of those, there are hybrid too. There's field sales, which is usually in the outbound bucket. And then there's PLG, which is basically freemium to premium. So that would be my advice, is really think very carefully about your go to market motion.
Yeah, it almost sounds like in addition for the company to find the product market fit, they also need to think about based on their market and based on the product, they also need to find the product channel fit to find the to find the right go to market motion so that they can properly reaching out to their potential clients.
Yeah, exactly. Like what you said about product channel fit. I think it's a market go to market fit almost that we are talking about. You won't be able to expect to go sell to CIOs through an inbound channel, for instance. No CIO is going to come to your website and fill out a demo request form. Similarly, you won't be able to attract a whole bunch of SMBs by having an enterprise motion. So there's some things there to be figured out.
Gotcha. So now that we are embraced with so many different AI products, AI agents. So what does it mean to be an AI native CMO nowadays?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting and evolving kind of a role. I don't think any of us really know what it means. And what I mean by that is any role right now requires a lot of usage of AI tools in the right way to increase your own productivity and your team's productivity. So that's kind of a given, right? But on top of that, as marketers, we also have to figure out how to speed things up by 10x to get to the market. You have to figure out, like, if I had 100,000 customer TAM, and it took me, in the old days, in the SaaS world days, it took me 2 years to get to 10% of the TAM. Right now, that's probably going to be, you get 3 months to go after that 10% of TAM. So you have to know how to get in front of those customers ASAP with a lot of urgency. So that means that as a CMO, you have to be really thinking about leveraging tools to really ship things faster, campaigns or ads or landing pages or website, whatever that is, and you have to have that 10x kind of speed built into everything that you're doing. So that means then you have to change your org structure. That means you have to change your processes. That means you have to change your go-to-market tech stack. So that's what I think it means to be an AI native CMO, is you have to really just embrace the idea that your job has to be about moving 10x faster than you currently are. And what does that mean for you and how do you get to that outcome?
Gotcha. It sounds like there's so many things that we can leverage. We can do campaigns, ads, landing pages. They can all be things faster. But for a company that who are just thinking about getting started, do you have a suggestion on which area that they should prioritize over others?
Yeah, I would say I think there are some very obvious things that are now very quick and easy to do, such as websites. You can spin up websites in hours rather than, or pages and websites in hours rather than days and months that it used to take us in the past. So ensuring that you start there. Design is another one. You can leverage a lot of different tools, and you worked at Hagen, you can leverage a lot of different tools to create designs at speed and scale. That ads is another one. So start there, use a lot of these tools to really just get a lot of things out in the market, experiment and test it. And that's, I would call that like more of an application layer. So you have a ton of things you can do at the application layer. By the way, one personal favorite of mine right now is Gamma, the presentation app, or app agent, whatever they want to call it. It is unbelievable. I have been able to do so much with Gamma that I would never have been able to do with Google slides, and so I'd strongly recommend people look at it. So there's the application layer. Then one level deeper is what I would call the sort of the workflow engines. So by what I mean by that is, these are the tools that are helping send emails. These are the tools that are helping personalize messages. So one tool that I'm really bullish about is 11x, and that basically it's an AI SDR type of a tool. And so start integrating those tools within your tech stack to see how you can start to outreach faster to different micro slivers of segments. Then there's the true data layer, which is then at some point you have to start work with your engineering team or your developer team to bring all of that data into your data stack, learn from it, improve, and then feed it back into that go-to-market stack. So that's kind of how I would approach or break this problem down. Each of those layers will take some time to really absorb and get right. Now, that's just on the technology piece. I also want to say there's a whole conversation we can have about organization and roles, and where people can start, that maybe we can address at a later time.
That's amazing. That's definitely amazing to hear. Yeah, so first of all, it's really great to hear that you love Gamma. We've been working with Gamma for the last year, and
Yeah.
every single one of my team members really loves Gamma. And it's always a lot easier to talk to partners for a product that they actually love. So And the Gamma just a shameless ad. The Gamma just released a 3.0, and we released the Gamma agents just 2 days ago. So if anyone is interested, we'll love for you to try Gamma. Back to the topic. So it's a well summary to say that you separated the whole agent application to applications, infrastructure, as well as the data layer. Um, and in that sense, that there are also different organization changes.
Yeah.
How do you encourage the team to embrace the changes that when you feel some resistance?
Yeah, I think it's a lot about the assessing the skills versus the motivation part, right? Like there are people who have the skills, and that has nothing to do with age, by the way. They want to learn, they want to be curious. For them, it's just about exposing them to here's all the things that you can do. Go try Descript, go try these tools, the Gamma thing, for instance. And then there's the motivation aspect, and there are some people who get stuck in it's overwhelming. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to change. I like doing things in a certain way, and so there it's more about training and the old world of change management and just making sure that they understand what's the most important thing that you can do to get this going. One very important thing that we didn't address in the AI native CMO thing is the agents. So I talked about application, infrastructure, and data layer. What I should have also mentioned is then you kind of evolve to the point where you're creating agents that do marketing specific tasks, right? And that's what my team is doing right now. I've hired I call them a prompt marketer, but their job is to make agents that drive marketing use cases and workflows. So in the org, going back to the question about the org stuff, you first get them to use tools, then you kind of help them train, and then you get them to the point where they're able to create the right kind of agents that uses both prompt engineering, and then as you get more and more sophisticated, you get towards context engineering, which is where the real holy grail of productivity is going to be. And that's the place that I'm trying to get all of my team to.
That's so interesting. It's interesting you mentioned agents in addition to application for infrastructure and the data layer. Do you think it's a kind of overarching it's a kind of overarching mechanism that connect the application infrastructure and data together, or how do you think about the positioning of the AI agents within the different layers?
So I kind of think of it as all of that supercharged is an agent. The
Cool.
application infrastructure and data. And what I mean by that is let's take a very simple use case, right, in marketing. In the past, we had product marketers who were doing competitive analysis all the time. They were scanning the market, they were looking at what's happening, competitive moves, what do we do in terms of positioning, etc. um, what we have done now is we've built an agent. It's called a competitive agent, and all it does is basically scans the market based on certain, prompts and guardrails and guidelines about the kinds of information that's happening. There's no one person who could do that now anymore, right? It's because there's so much going on. So that you take that agent and then you start plugging it into ideally we haven't done this yet, but ideally you take that agent and then you start plugging it into a product positioning agent, which then starts to refine and create better value proposition and product. So you can imagine this competitive agent now has an app layer, it has the workflow layer, it has the data layer. So it's like a supercharged set of things that you can do on top of what you were doing with deterministic sort of steps and rule-based steps. So that's the promise of the agent is it literally takes your workflows and automates it, or maybe that's the wrong word, but takes it to a whole new level where you're unleashing 10x more productivity out of it.
Gotcha. That's really cool. One of my teammates now that he actually gave himself a new title. His new title is AI agent manager because he literally
Yeah.
managed to turn AI agent to run different workflows for him. So it's good to hear. And in terms of the enterprise adoption for agents application and the AI infras, how would you say where we are? based on your observation? Are we single digit percentage, or we are halfway there, or
It's I would say we are very early on in the whole space. And the reason I say that is I think at this point we are still sort of bolting on all of these different things on top of our existing workflows, and kind of trying to accelerate those workflows using tools and platforms. But I think the where it's going to get to in a maybe a few months or years time is those workflows may not be relevant any longer. So maybe there are different and newer workflows that need to be changed, done differently. So an example is if you look at GEO or AEO, as people call it, right? The idea of, first of all, the old version of this was SEO. SEO was basically just creating the right kind of content with the right meta tags, with the right keywords, so that you could capture the attention of the user that's looking for that keyword. So the whole workflow was built around, let's research what customers are looking for. Based on those keywords, go build the content. Based on that, do some technical SEO on the website, and then hopefully you get crawled and indexed. But with GEO, that whole the way you develop content is completely different. You don't need to do all of that stuff, right? To some extent, the to surface to get into the 10 blue links. What you have to do instead is just generate a whole shit ton of content that is structured, that's deep, that's insightful, and just get it out there, almost like content as a factory. And that automatically starts to pick up the or you automatically start to become more visible in LLMs because you have that much content out there. And plus, it's also very important to know that social media like Reddit and LinkedIn play a huge part in how you show up in LLMs. So now that workflow never existed in the SEO world. You never really automatically thought about what do I need to do on LinkedIn to show up in Google, right? That never existed before. Now you have to think, what kind of content do I put on LinkedIn so that I show up in ChatGPT in the LLM, right? So this whole workflow just got blown out of the water, and that's the direction I think we are all heading in the future. Is I called it in one of my LinkedIn posts a while ago, I called it workflows to be deleted. What are the workflows to be deleted? Make sure you know that, because that's going to accelerate you further.
Gotcha. When you say the workflow that need to be deleted, are you thinking about to switch more of your resources to GEO and then deprioritize the SEO effort?
No, not necessarily deprioritize, because I think SEO is always going to be the foundation. It's hygiene, if you will. But SEO is all about optimizing for humans that are searching. Geo is optimizing for LLMs that are trying to synthesize information. It's a whole different ball game. So the workflow to be deleted there is, don't spend so much time trying to optimize for the 10 blue links. Make
Yeah.
sure you're optimizing for content production at scale, or I should say high quality content production at scale that lives on your website and a lot of other surfaces.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. And in terms of AI agents, are you using any AI agents for this type of workflows?
Yeah, we uh, my company u.com, we have a agent builder workspace, so you can actually go and build a bunch of agents, which is what we have done. We use we dog food our own product, if you will. We also use so another one that we are planning to trial is by GrowthX. This I don't know how many people know, but Marcel, who's the CEO of GrowthX, he has created this agent plus service type of a framework for people to go and actually create a lot of content. So we are planning to think about using them. And then there's just a ton, like 11x is an agent, for instance, that we would use to do AI SDR stuff. The trick here, though, is to make sure that when you're using the agents, you're chaining them all together, so it doesn't become like 15 different things that you're using without any orchestration. So back to what you said earlier about the agent manager, that is actually going to be a good role, because it needs to be able to orchestrate all of these agents coming together.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Makes sense. And in order to train those AI agents together, does the company require certain infrastructure, or you are all relying more on the human to be able to putting soul into the workflow and to provide the expertise judgment?
I mean, I think if there are simple things you can do, you can use N8N, Zapier, or Zapier, sorry, N8N, Zapier, or Make.com. You can do simple things with just using those kind of connectors. But my company, for instance, we build RAG pipelines for customers, which basically means you are ensuring that the right data is flowing into the right things with the right context, because context is super important to deliver the right results, right? And that's not an easy um, chaining to do, because you can't just plug and play something. You have to really build some of that technology and create the right kind of hygiene in the RAG pipeline. You have to do some evals and all that sort of stuff. So it depends on your use case. If you're have a very thin use case, then start with something which is like I love Zapier. It's quite an amazing tool. But if you have a more production ready use case that you where you need accuracy, you need specific types of data, then you need to come to u.com or companies like that.
Gotcha. And for you.com's platform, do you enable people to build agents and you have infrastructure connect them together, or
Yeah.
you have the ready to use agent that the non-technical people can just plug and play?
Yeah, so this is my marketing pitch. It's or sales pitch. We do have 100,000 agents that people can use, plug and play. They cover a wide range of things. Like they do, there's an SEO research agent, there's a competitive agent, like I mentioned. There's a content creator agent. I forget what. There's a bunch of things. But we could also help you build the right kind of agents, because the what we have is a platform where you can actually create the right agents based on the prompt and the kind of data that you want to upload and all that stuff. But the true magic, in my opinion, of our platform is the way to be let people access all of these through APIs. So you can actually, if you're
Oh,
building an agent, and let's say you want to get a deep research into X, Y, and Z, you don't actually have to code that. You can pull us in through an API, and that gives you the most accurate kind of freshest kind of results that you can embed right into your agent. So it's depends on what your scope is or what you want to do.
gotcha, gotcha.
Things
So the
does
API enable the people to do things very flexibly and also
Yes, yeah.
scale with automation.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The APIs are, I think, we help our customers really become intelligent about how to get the right data and access the right LLMs for the right workflows and the right outcomes, because not every LLM is good for each workflow. And so we allow people to customize what they want and get to the right outcome.
Gotcha. That sounds super cool. So it feels like the platform can almost connect the application layer with the company's infrastructure and the serve as agents to help people to
That's right.
automate the whole workflow.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Then,
Yeah.
then the biggest challenge for the team to adopt it might be the data layer. Because I used to be a data analyst
Mhm.
20 years ago, but and we had all saying that when you have bad data in, then you have bad results out.
Absolutely.
So now that in the context that the AI agents need good context and then do really good data in order to properly understand and to properly to operate.
Yeah.
And what's your suggestion to the enterprises who are about to adopt the agent to help them to automate the workflows in terms
Yeah,
of data layer?
no, you're right, absolutely right. That's why we say it's the accuracy, last mile accuracy problem. If you don't have agents that are, sorry, if you don't have the right data, then your whole accuracy is out of the picture. I think it depends so much on context. So what we do really well is we pipe the right kind of unstructured data really well. You have to know at a company what your structured data looks like and how that kind of marries with the unstructured data. So there's a decent amount of setup that needs to happen. But this is what we do is we have forward deployed engineers. We have which I think is a new term, by the way. And we have, or maybe it's not as new because Palantir introduced it. We have people who can help the company set it up in the right way, because the outcomes are always going to be only as good as the repository of information you're accessing.
Gotcha. Cool. That's so amazing. And for the unstructured data, I think that might be something new comparing to the pre-ChatGPT's time, because previously that we can only process the structured data. And with the unlock of the ability to understand the unstructured data, what would you think is the biggest application in
Yeah, it's
the marketing world?
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely, in my opinion, it's the marriage of not only the structured, unstructured data, but it's a marriage of that with web search data, right? That's the beauty or the promise of all of this is I need to be able to say, I'm running this particular campaign for this kind of a person. I want to have all of the data, the stuff around how my salespeople are liking it, but I also want to be able to search the web and say, which other company is talking about the same kind of thing, and marry that together and give me that report. That is a kind of the holy grail of bringing web data and private data together in the right pipeline that helps us build some of these outcomes.
Gotcha. In order to marry all the data and the different and understanding of our users and be able to ask the right question for agent to execute, it sounds like
Yeah.
a cross-functional collaboration effort. And how should CMOs rethink the swim lines across like a product growth and the marketing in the AI
Yeah.
native environment?
No, it's a great question. I think I kind of always refer to this as a multi-threaded operator, right? Again, like I wrote a post about this called multi-threaded marketer, but it's the same concept that applies to operators. I think in this new world, we have to be thinking more like GMs of certain products rather than like specific swim lanes of I'm in product or sales or marketing, because you have to think end-to-end customer journey. What does that look like? And then bring the right kind of people together to really shape the output. So eh, we can expound on this at some point, but keep in mind this is the idea of a multi-threaded operator who can bring multiple disciplines together to really think about outcomes.
That makes a lot of sense. And Julia, do you have a question or
No, no,
or we
no.
are on time already?
Uh, yeah, this just the fireside chat just flew by. Super endlessly fascinated and love being a fly on the wall here. Kady and Cheng, what's the best way to support you? What are you excited about? And since this is a Agentic Distribution Summit, what would be your advice to our CXL community watching in terms of distribution for this year?
My thing would be, I think agents are here to stay, but not all agents are created equal. I think to Chang's point, what goes into an agent is as important as which agent you use. So make sure that you are setting in the right inputs and outputs if you're using agents. Because that is going to determine what outcomes you're going after.
Thank you so much. And how about yourself, Cheng?
Yeah, we so at least at our team that we are aggressively adopting agents because we definitely see it help us to accelerate the execution speed. And when we have a faster speed to test different experiments, that means that we are accelerating our learnings as well. But we do want still our expertise and our team member to be able to set up guardrails so that we will be able to learn faster without breaking things too badly.
Thank you so much again, everyone. Please follow Kady and Cheng. And we are transitioning to our next fireside chat. Welcome to the show, Mark Stews and Tuba Deraz. Thank you again.
Thank you.